There's this common misconception that acne-prone or oily skin can skip out on lotion.
What?
It's really just there's nothing positive. There's nothing positive there. Hi and welcome back to my channel. I am Zonia and this is episode 13 of Hot Girl Hygiene. For today's episode, we're going to be doing a long awaited for and a very highly requested video, which is pertaining entirely to body acne, managing, treating, and preventing. Summer body care and hygiene is no joke, especially when you're dealing with heat, humidity, and just so many different environmental factors that are really pushing your skin to the limit. If you've been dealing with breakouts, clogged pores, rough skin, whether that's during the summertime or any other season of the year, this video will be such an aid to you, although we are focusing so much more on summer because, well, this is a summer body care series. In this video, we'll break down everything that you need to know, everything that you need to do, everything that you need to avoid, all of the habits and practices that you'll need to clear, treat, and prevent body acne from now throughout the rest of the summer, and fingers crossed every season to come. And I've definitely discussed body acne prior in a short form, and as usual, if I do have any short form videos that go hand in hand with what I'm explaining and give you a better visual, I will play those on screen. For all of my short form content, I am Zonia on every platform. I would also highly recommend watching the previous episodes of this series. There is definitely value to be gained from every single part, and I haven't mentioned body acne briefly and in detail in previous episodes. With this being episode 13, we do only have 3 episodes left in this series. I did recently upload the lineup for the future episodes all the way up to the finale. So if you are interested in knowing what episodes are to come and when they will go live, definitely make sure to reference this sheet and stay tuned for everything that's left to come. But it's about time for me to say what you've all heard me say a million times. I'm not one for a long intro, so let's get right into this video. Now, as I usually do, I've broken this video into sections, and this episode is going to contain 9 different sections. So to do a brief overview, we have section 1 being summer body breakout triggers, section 2 being clarifying your breakout, section 3 being choosing the right wash, section 4 being physical versus chemical exfoliation, section 5 being post-workout sweat management, section 6 being non-comedogenic moisturizers for oily or acne-prone skin, section 7 being wardrobe choices, section 8 being treating a post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, and section 9 being consistency and building routine. And for this video and topic, I can't really give a super specific lineup of products because they will all kind of differentiate from skin to skin, person to person, routine to routine. So while I won't give like a specific set of products that you must have, I will definitely mention and reference a few throughout the video, and I do always have them linked whether you wanted to remember them or shop them. And I will be building a full list on Amazon with this and all the episodes in the series soon. So if you are wanting that, stay tuned. Now, when managing any sort of condition or concern in the skin, you need to start at the root, and you need to start at understanding what's really going on within your skin to bring about anything that's concerning you or bringing any discomfort. So let's go ahead and start off with section 1 being summer body breakout triggers. Now, first and foremost, for your most basic and common triggers that can really bring about body acne to acne-prone or standard skin, we have heat, heavy sweat, sunscreen or product buildup, and tight activewear. This can cause back acne, chest acne, thigh acne, inner arm acne, outer arm acne. This can also lead acne up your neck, around your chest, shoulders, and then of course onto your face. Acne itself can also bring about so many different issues within the skin, whether it's an overproduction of oil, bumps, and texture or odor. These can also be done vice versa. For example, during the summer with the intense heat and humidity, your skin can feel dehydrated at times, even if you think you've moisturized it enough or that your sweat is hydrating your skin, which I think it's so crazy when people mention that theory. But both excess sweat or your skin being triggered by the heat and humidity can bring about excess oil production, which is when your skin kind of thinks to hydrate itself and it just chooses to do that with oil. That excess oil is what's going to cause a lot of your body acne, the same as your sweat, and when both of those two come together, it'll be even worse. That sweat and oil will get trapped in your high congestion zones, which are most commonly areas in your back, chest, and thighs. These areas are also so much more more prone to holding buildup, which is why I mentioned in previous videos, one common cause for back acne and even chest acne is allowing products from your hair to run down your back or chest. In the summertime, you may be washing your hair so much more often, whether it's just from you sweating a lot, styling your hair more towards more product buildup, or even being in the pool or beach often. Washing your hair more frequently is common and to be expected in the summertime, but the repeated habit of all those products washing down your back and based on the angle you're in the shower also trickling towards your chest or shoulders can cause so much body acne. The best way to avoid that really is to just thoroughly wash the skin with an unfragrant soap after your hair products, just to make sure you get anything off of your skin. You can't really prevent it any other way. That's going to be the most ideal way to really manage and control that. Now for another common issue that I mentioned, the buildup of products, more specifically sunscreen. Sunscreen is absolutely a complete non-negotiable during the summertime on all of your body, whether it's the skin from your neck down or the skin from your neck up. Sunscreen is very vital, but sunscreen is also a very thick, heavy, and almost always oily product on the skin. If you're not properly removing that and properly washing it off in the shower and not allowing for it to really mix and settle with your sweat, it is going to clog your pores and just congest your skin tremendously. The simple way to break this down is to use multiple layers of cleansing in the shower. For example, I go in first with an unfragrant soap, follow with a hydrating soap, and follow that with an oil or gel based wash. If you do have very oily skin or very acne prone skin, or maybe you just generally struggle to get things off, I would say use an oil wash first on the skin and then follow that with an unfragrant soap. That way the oil can help kind of break down that sunscreen a little bit and loosen it up, and then you can follow back with the other soap that's going to actually cleanse your skin and get it off. That method would work really well for someone with oily or acne prone skin. Now for our next factor, which is tight activewear, that is more so going to be a direct cause, because with those clothes being so tight, it doesn't allow your skin anywhere to breathe or any room to release any sweat, oil production, or product buildup, and instead it will kind of just hold it in place onto the skin, pressing it onto the skin, trapping it, or even bringing about humidity that's amplifying or duplicating the amount. That constant friction can also bring about mechanical body acne, which is kind of like the clothing helping your skin kind of be more receptive to all of that buildup in bacteria, which is awful. The best way to go about this can be really simple, and that's coming from someone who likes to work out in tight compressive clothing. Your first line of defense is to remove that clothing immediately the moment that you can, or if you don't have the opportunity to do that right away and need to do something before you're able to take that clothes off in the shower, you can use hypochlorous acid sprays. This is my choice for my body, Precool's Universal Skin Solution Spray. This is what I reach for. I have other examples like Dermalogica's Clear Start Spray. Well, this is more so like a mist. Now, if you have very dry or oily skin, you're gonna wanna use a hypochlorous acid spray that can be a little bit hydrating as well, so that you're not drying out your skin to where it by default will end up overproducing oil anyways, to kind of eliminate what you just did. My favorite hydrating hypochlorous acid spray is this one by Honeydew Labs. This can be a great choice if you are dealing with that. These are all things to keep in mind that will make it virtually impossible for body acne or any breakouts to catch you off guard and come out of nowhere. Knowing these factors alone would definitely bring down your probability of having to deal with body acne or constant breakouts, constant flare-ups. But there is so much more to know and understand when it comes to managing, treating, and preventing body acne. And as I mentioned earlier, the foundation to really breaking through any issue or concern in the skin is targeting it at the root. When it comes to body acne, the best way to do that is knowing what type of acne you have and where the acne is coming from. So let's go ahead and move on to section 2 and talk about clarifying your breakout. Now for this section, I wrote down quite a few notes. I think you should as well. I'm gonna kind of go through them in the same way that I wrote them to help you also write them down if you're wanting to. For the main basis, you're gonna want to differentiate between a different sorts of body acne and breakouts to know which proper products to use, because using the wrong ingredients or the wrong routines or the wrong layerings at the wrong time will stall your progress or even at times make your issue worse. We're gonna go through 3 different types of body acne. Number 1 being an inflammatory acne. Number 2 being a fungal acne, or for the proper verbiage, fungal folliculitis. And lastly, this isn't too much body acne but relatively close, and what I think is really confused with body acne a lot, so I'm going to include it in here, and that is KP or keratosis pilaris. Now these can be visually differentiated or even differentiated by texture and sensation. If you're dealing with tiny itchy bumps that seem to be like in a really uniform patch, that's almost always going to be KP or fungal. If you're dealing with deep red, very inflamed, angry looking skin, that's going to be your bacterial acne. Knowing the exact type of breakout that you're having will change your product strategy, the lineups you use, the order you're using your products, when you're using your products, how often you're using your products, if you're going to need chemical exfoliation, if you're going to need an antibacterial wash, if you're going to need an antifungal solution, because some of those things won't be effective if you're using them on the wrong form of acne, or they will make the acne worse. For example, if you try to treat fungal acne with a heavy oil-based cream or even with general typical acne products, you may only end up feeding that yeast and that fungus that's growing in the skin. Whereas if you were to use that for something like KP, it would have worked wonders. Now to break down those three traditional forms a little bit more in detail, here's what you're gonna need to know. When you're dealing with standard inflammatory acne, it's gonna look like deep, angry bumps, whiteheads, or even occasional cysts, and this is all going to be very tender to the touch. It's going to show up in clusters mostly around your upper back, your chest, your shoulders, wherever your oil glands are more dense. The best way to go about fixing this is with targeted chemical exfoliation, since this form of acne is driven by excess oil and bacteria. Therefore, you're going to reach for things like salicylic acid, benzoyl peroxide, or antibacterial cleansers. Next, when dealing with fungal acne, this is going to look like very tiny, tightly clustered bumps that are in a uniform patch. Every bump is going to look almost identical, and they're going to feel itchy rather than painful. These are going to show up more so along your chest, your back, and shoulders. This is often triggered by trapped sweat, heat, and occlusive products. When it comes to fixing this, because this is an overproduction and just a buildup of yeast, most standard acne treatments like heavy oil-based creams are only going to make it worse. The best way to treat this is with antifungal washes or very targeted clarifying ingredients. Now lastly, when it comes to KP, this can look like small rough bumps that can be either slightly red or the same color as your skin, and it's going to almost always have no inflammation, which is why it's usually referred to as a chicken skin in texture. It's going to show up mostly on the back of the arms, your thighs, sometimes in your butt area. And this is caused by the buildup of keratin trapping hair follicles. So the best way to treat this is with gentle physical exfoliation paired with hydrating chemical smoothers like glycolic acid. You're also going to want to keep the skin very, very moisturized. Knowing the exact type of breakout that you're dealing with will change your strategy. This way you won't waste any time, delay any improvement, or make your issue worse. Now when it comes to that very thing, managing, treating, and preventing the skin and avoiding acne can either be an everyday occurrence, something that you're doing for maintenance, or very intensive treatment. And you can do this in or out of the shower, but most of the work will be done in the shower. And as we just mentioned, knowing the right products will give you the best results. Let's go ahead and move on to section 3 and talk about choosing the right wash. Now when it comes to managing body acne, treating it and preventing it will kind of call for two different types of washes, especially depending on your skin. And of course, it applies to the type of acne that you have. You can reach for gentle hydrating washes, you can reach for medical washes, you can reach for more chemical washes, or you can reach for antibacterial washes. One example of a very solid antibacterial soap that I recommend to everyone because it's very pure and true in what it does, being an antibacterial soap, and it's very affordable, is Gold Bar, but you can also compare this to Dove's antibacterial bar as well. This will also serve really, really well for high sweat areas, and it can help also manage oily skin. So if you're dealing with oily skin and body acne, this needs to be your best friend. I would say, although this soap can be a little bit drying, so if you do have dry skin or aren't really in need of an antibacterial soap, I wouldn't reach for this at all. Personally, I don't reach for this whatsoever. And if you do have dry skin but are wanting to use this for its antibacterial properties, just make sure to follow with a really hydrating soap and really be on top of your skin's moisture levels. Now personally, the acne that I deal with all comes from bacteria or just buildup from sweat or just having my skin on the wrong surfaces. So personally, what I use to avoid body acne, treat it when it's needed, or just manage my skin well is a salicylic acid body wash. Granted, the one that I'm currently using is by a brand that I no longer support, so I won't be showing it, but I am gonna finish what I have, and when I am done, I'm gonna switch to Precool's Cleanser containing salicylic acid. I've been using the glycolic acid version for quite some time on my skin. It served me really well, so I'm very sure that the salicylic acid one will serve me just as well. Now, when it comes to using products like this for your skin, you don't want to use them daily. Not only will it be very damaging and irritating to the skin, but it's also unnecessary and it won't really function properly if you're constantly using it and not giving your skin time to repair and rebuild itself from the treatment. This is best used 2 to 3 times a week. Personally, I use it 3 times a week, so that's Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And I also don't use it as a full body wash because it's a treatment soap. It's not intended to be a full body wash. It's intended to treat and kind of really be concentrated on areas where it's needed. Personally, I really only deal with body acne on my back, sometimes on my chest, but I've kind of built up my barrier pretty well here to where I'm not really dealing with it too much. But for that reason, when I am using that soap, I'm really only applying it. Well, I apply it to my legs as well, but that's for strawberry skin. When it comes to body acne, I'm really only applying it to my back and sometimes my chest. Again, not too often because it's not really needed super intensively there. This can be the same process that you use if you're needing an antibacterial soap, something like Dial. You can also truly kind of get around to managing body acne with something simpler as well. If these two are too much for your skin to handle and your skin isn't really built up to tolerate any of these formulas, you can even also use a standard unfragranced liquid wash. Dr. Bronner's Baby Unscented, Dove's Liquid Unscented Soap. You can use Ivory. These can also do a great job. Although they're not going to be as intensive, they will serve well if your skin just isn't quite ready for those stronger soaps yet. And going back to the salicylic acid soap, in using soaps like that, it's also great to let it sit and rest in the skin for a little bit before you rinse it off. So I use a shower mitt. I apply it to my mitt, break the soap down a little bit, then apply it onto the skin. I will scrub it and then let it sit for a minute or two before rinsing it off. This allows it time to actually seep into the skin and do a little bit of work before you're just removing what was left from the surface. And with using any soap for your body acne, they will serve well, but they also will strip your skin just a bit because their job is to clean out your pores, clean out the buildup that's really helping maintain that acne and making that breakout flare up, keeping the skin irritated, keeping the skin inflamed. So after using those soaps, you will feel a little bit stripped. The best thing to do is follow with the hydrating soap. I lately started using the Dove's Hyaluronic Acid Serum Body Wash, and it's actually so much more hydrated than I anticipated it being. I was avoiding it for so long thinking that it just wasn't gonna serve me well because in the past, I just never was a big fan of Dove, but I've actually been loving that soap. So I would recommend that, or my staple that I always recommend, Ivory's Unfragranced Liquid Body Wash. Either of those will serve really well. You can also even follow with an oil wash, a gel to oil wash, a gel wash. Just make sure that they're unfragranced. When dealing with body acne, you're also trying to avoid any further inflammation on the skin or irritation, and fragrance can sometimes bring about irritation, especially when using chemical exfoliants. So when you are actively using these soaps to treat your skin, whether it's daily, well, the Dial should be the only one that you're using daily, but any day that you're using these soaps, make sure that the other products you use in the shower are unfragranced, just to avoid any possible room for irritation on the skin. Now, when talking about exfoliating, there's also the use of physical exfoliation, which will not serve best for all acne, but it will serve best in some cases. So I figured it'd still be beneficial to shed light on it a little bit. Let's go ahead and move on to section 4 and talk about physical versus chemical exfoliation. Now, when done properly and intentionally, exfoliating will help so much in removing any dead skin cells and clearing any trapped oil. You have your chemical exfoliants, AHAs and BHAs, and AHA being glycolic acid and the BHA being salicylic acid. And then you have your physical exfoliants. These are more so going to be tools like exfoliating gloves, African nut sponges, exfoliating stretch towels, shower sponges. With chemical exfoliation, you're going to want to control frequency to avoid any damage or irritation to the skin. With physical exfoliation, you're going to want to have control of pressure, texture, and intensity to avoid any damage in tearing the skin. The benefit of using a chemical exfoliation is if you're using, for example, salicylic acid, that will help clear out your pores and refine below the surface of the skin. Using glycolic acid or an AHA will help refine the surface of the skin, smoothen any texture, and remove any dead skin, buildup, dead cells. That's going to serve you the best with KP. Using physical tools can also help you so much in texture with smoothing out the skin and kind of buffing off any dead skin, buildup, or just anything on the skin that has been lifted but is still sitting on the surface, because that can also bring about so much bacteria and also cause a breakout or trigger an area that's already been broken out. Now, in using both of these, you're gonna want to avoid over exfoliating and bringing out any necessary irritation to the skin. So you're gonna want to make sure that you're scheduling them out properly. As I always mention, if you are new to physical exfoliants, start using them first 2 to 3 times a week. See if that's your level of tolerance, or if you can tolerate more days. When it comes to chemical exfoliation, the limit for anyone, any skin type, is 2 to 3 times a week. If you are just starting out, you can start with once a week, work up to 2 times a week, and see if you're really needing a third day or if you're fine with just the 2 days a week. And after you figure that out, you can kind of build a schedule for the week or for the month, however you're going about doing your treatment, because these are all forms of treatment to the skin. Chemical exfoliation being a little bit more of an intensive, harsh treatment, but physical exfoliation still being a way of treating the skin regardless. Please know that if your skin ever feels tight, squeaky, or stings, maybe kind of is really uncomfortable when you add a product onto it, you may have been over exfoliating or over stripping your skin. So at that point, kind of dial back on your frequency of using both. Give it some time to repair, heal, come back to itself, and then you can start working these back in very slowly. If it feels more like a texture discomfort, dial back on physically exfoliating and kind of maintain very gentle maintenance level chemical exfoliation. If it feels like more of a redness, stinging, and like an internal pain, dial back on chemically exfoliating and then use a very light, moderate level of frequency with physically exfoliating. Now, earlier in the video, I did mention sweat and working out and how that can affect your skin and bring about these breakouts. So let's talk a little bit more about that in section 5, breaking down post-workout sweat management. Managing the skin and your sweat after working out can be really simple and just quick, easy habits. Either as simple as removing your clothes immediately or having a change of clothes. You can use products like body wipes or even mist. You can use witch hazel. You can turn that into a mist. However is more comfortable for you or more ideal for your skin. Changing or getting out of your clothes immediately or quickly after can help to prevent sweat from settling into your pores and kind of sticking onto the surface of your skin, which eventually will seep into your skin. This will only breed bacteria and kind of just invite basically every possible room for a breakout to happen, especially if you're going a long time doing this and then continuing to sit out, sweating further, kind of amplifying that amount of sweat. In that case, now there's humidity involved. Sweat can be very drying to the skin, so now your skin's gonna feel dehydrated and want to overcompensate, which is gonna be excess oil production. Now you have excess oil and sweat mixing together, settling in the skin. That just allows so much room for disaster. If you have a brief window of time in between, maybe you're not wanting to go home right away like me. Sometimes after working out, I do like to sit out in the sun or just outside, not in the sun maybe, but outside, to kind of just have some time to myself. That is when I will use a hyperchloric acid spray. You can use wipes, you can make your own wipes, you can use witch hazel. I like to convert my witch hazel into a mist, and while I choose to use it after I take that shower after getting home from the gym, you can even choose to use that witch hazel right after, before you get home, to be like a bridge to kind of keep your skin very tame before you're able to shower. I wouldn't advise using any salicylic acid during this time, meaning before you shower. I would recommend always using salicylic acid, or really any chemical exfoliant for that matter, onto dry, clean skin. Applying it onto skin that kind of has bacteria on it, sweat, oil buildup. Number one, that's all kind of in the way of the exfoliant actually doing its job. And number two, it's really not gonna do much for you if you're gonna wash it off right after. So I would avoid using salicylic acid at that time and definitely reach for something like witch hazel or hyperchloric acid. You also want to avoid any mechanical breakouts or even cysts, and these are caused by friction, which can again come from super tight clothing or even super revealing clothing where it's like your skin kind of bringing about friction onto itself. With that being said, make sure that you always have preventative measures set with you when you go to the gym. Bring a bag with you, have products with you. Or if you're gonna come straight home, have those products set on, ready to go. Have maybe a change of clothes, change of shirt, change of pants, whatever works best for you and fits the best into your routine. Just make sure that you're being really attentive about this, because that post gym or post-workout sweat is one of the leading causes for body acne in any area. And as I mentioned earlier, issues like body acne can bring about so many other things. It's really just there's nothing positive. There's nothing positive there. Now, on that subject of oily, acne-prone skin, this is probably the trickiest skin to work with when it comes to body acne because it naturally brings the issue upon itself. And doing typical normal things like keeping the skin moisturized and hydrated can make the problems even worse, which can be so frustrating. So let's go to section 6, talk about moisturizing your skin without the worry or the need to clog your pores. Now, as I mentioned earlier in the video, for some reason that I really just don't understand, there's this common misconception that acne-prone or oily skin can skip out on lotion.
What?
I don't care what sort of skin you have, you should never be skipping out on moisturizing and hydrating your skin. And if you do have oily or acne prone skin, there's various options. There's lightweight gel creams, there's fast absorbing lotions, there's even dry oils. These can all be used to maintain your skin barrier without clogging your pores. And if needed, you can always realign or restructure the order of your products. Even though there is an ideal order in which you should be layering your products for moisture, you can always rearrange them if you're needing to attend to your skin the best. Which is why I always say body care can definitely be taught and explained, but you can always play around with things that you learn and kind of adjust everything to your personal skin because no one else has your exact skin, your exact issues, your exact environment. It's impossible for you and someone else to share the exact same routine and it work the exact same for both of you or be as effective or as ineffective for both of you. Now, the main reason why acne prone oily skin needs to be moisturized is because oily skin is just skin that has no real sense of hydration and it constantly feels the need to overcompensate and hydrate itself, and it does that with oil. That is what makes it acne prone, and the skin being acne prone is also what makes it oily. So the best way to manage this is to make sure that you're constantly keeping your pores clear of anything and constantly keeping the skin hydrated. Now, if you're choosing these lightweight options for lotions or creams or products out of the shower that are working but just aren't enough moisture and hydration to really defeat the issue, it's also time to readjust the products you're using in the shower, because you can have moisturized skin from products within the shower, and applying products outside of the shower can be like the final seal. That can really be the balance where some people might need more products outside of the shower. If you're dealing with oily acne prone skin, you can get away with just using a lotion, no body butters, no body balms, no oils. But for that to work, you have to make sure that you're using products in the shower that are clearing your skin, refining your pores, and hydrating your skin while you're in the shower. Not only that, but keeping the skin constantly moisturized and hydrated will also build up your moisture barrier, your skin barrier, which is what's going to keep your skin strong and resilient against environmental damage. So lots of the causes of acne can be avoided if it's being put against skin that's too resilient to allow for it to really have any effect on you. For example, if your skin is built up and your pores are full of hydration and your skin barrier isn't weak and prone to any possible inflammation and irritation that can come across it, something as simple as sweat will not be as damaging versus a skin barrier where there's no protection against your pores and the sweat could literally just creep right in and make himself at home. Therefore, all in all, if you're wanting breakout control, you need to keep your skin hydrated, even if it's with something as simple as a lightweight lotion or moisturizer and a hydrating soap in the shower. Remember that if you are going to use any further products, layer your products from thinnest to thickest, and before you start, oil is not thinner than lotion or body butter. Oil is thicker than both. So when you're layering this, you can either layer a body lotion and an oil, or if you want to have another layer of hydration, if your skin can handle it and tolerate it, you can do a body serum or essence or toner, and then your lotion or body butter, and then your oil. Now we're gonna run back to clothing really quickly for a really quick short section, because that does definitely play a role in managing and avoiding and even treating body acne. So let's go on to section 7 and talk about wardrobe choices. Now, I definitely feel like I've touched on this quite a bit in a number of the previous sections, so I'm gonna go through the little notes that I wrote this will kind of just be like a reminder, quick, brief section. These are going to be all the things to keep in mind. Synthetic fabrics trap heat and moisture compared to natural fibers like 100% cotton or linen. Choosing looser outfits during peak heat will minimize any mechanical irritation. Clean, breathable clothing will prevent any reintroduction of bacteria to freshly cleansed skin. When choosing your wardrobe, whether it's for high activity moments or low activity moments, you don't have to sacrifice your skin's health and breathability. If you know you're acne prone and you know your skin is very prone to breaking out, you don't have to wear tight clothes all the time. Now, as I mentioned, that was going to be a really quick, brief section. So let's get back on track and move on to section 8, which is one area of this where I think leaves a lot of room for confusion. And it's really much more simple to understand than it may seem, which is treating PIH or post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. Now, I am a victim to this on various parts of my skin. In the beginning of the year, I had this little area on my chest that I had no sense, picked at, had 2 little marks. Thankfully, I was able to clear them. The skin is back to normal now, but that still happened to me. I have like 3 or 4 little marks on my face. I think one is here, there's one over here, of, again, pimples or flare-ups that I decided to touch and they left me with a mark. I currently am dealing with 2 little bumps right here because I was off my skincare for like a week. And this time I knew better, to where the moment I saw them before they even surfaced, I was just applying witch hazel to them over and over and over, to where now they're not active anymore and they're just healing. Even though they're healing and now they just look like scabs, I'm still not gonna pick the skin because I don't want this to turn into PIH, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. Now, if you do happen to bring this issue onto yourself, which honestly, if we're being fair, you kind of do it to yourself sometimes with, well, majority of the time with PIH. You're gonna want to fade these spots and speed up your cell turnover. The best things to do this are vitamin C, which is what I use on my chest to help clear it, which can also be used in equal onto the facial skin. Or you can use glycolic acid, which can also be used on the body or the face. Both are gonna do a really good job at fading those dark spots while keeping the skin healthy. Now, in using either of these, they will make your skin much more sensitive to light. So if you are ever having any of these active in your routine, you need to have an SPF active as well. That's a non-negotiable with chemical exfoliants, but also with vitamin C, any active really, but specifically vitamin C, that it makes your skin really sensitive to light. You're gonna make sure that when you're using that, you're also using an SPF. Dealing with a breakout and kind of like calming those areas, calming those little bumps or open like cysts, really anything, honestly is the simple part. It's really that mark that it can leave after, or when it's healing and the skin is just like basically like begging you to pick at it. Don't pick at it, please. Like, don't listen to the voices, okay? You have to literally just leave it alone in the case that it is stubborn and it's just won't go away, or you end up getting the PIH, or you just want it to fade quicker. Just make sure that you're being really intentional with treating it and not touching it, and also not applying anything else onto the area. You don't want to compromise the skin either, because that is a sign that that area is already kind of pretty damaged and basically like dead, so you don't really want to make it any worse. While I do say vitamin C is the best and glycolic acid can work really well, if you're wanting more intensive, more serious, like really not faster treatment, but just stronger treatment, you can use tranexamic acid. And again, I already said it twice, I'm gonna say it one more time. If you're treating the skin, it doesn't matter how good the product is, how consistent you are, how well you're using it, if you're not protecting the skin and using an SPF, it will be useless, and you're only building the skin back up and clearing it back up just to make it prone to being damaged by sun again, or light again. And this time, it won't be post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, it'll be light damage, UV damage, hyperpigmentation, which in my opinion is a lot harder to get rid of and a lot worse. And also, like I do like to mention often, the skin takes time to show change, to repair, to heal. So please remain very patient and consistent. Don't expect a change within a day, within a week, within a month. Your skin will take time. That thing I had on my chest took like 3 or 4 weeks to clear up. That is just how the skin is. It can be working and it can really be like doing its thing underneath the surface, but it will not be visible for weeks or even months, sometimes days. But that's all dependent on your skin, your health. So many factors go into it. So don't give up if you don't see an immediate quick fix. Remember to stay patient and consistent. You have to keep everything really steady to see good results. Don't hop from product to product. Don't think, oh, this one's not working fast enough, so I'm gonna use this one instead. Like, make sure that you're researching the product that you use so that once you start using it, you can continue using it until you're completely done with treatment, not jumping from product to product to product to product, because that will never bring you good results. And honestly, we can elaborate on this so much more in the last section. Let's go on to section 9 and talk about consistency and building a routine. Now, as I like to mention often, yes, I share lots of routines, lots of tips, lots of different habits, hacks, different things that you can do. I share a world of different things, but clear skin is a very, very long-term maintenance plan, and it requires consistent and constant sustainable habits. No quick fixes, no overnight relief, no none of that. It's a matter of doing the same thing every single day or a few days a week, depending on, you know, intensity. But it's a matter of doing the same thing over and over and over and over, and really just being really strict and consistent with everything that you use, how you're using it, how often you're using it. And while that's the basis, the foundation of clear skin, that is the same exact regimen that you're gonna follow for managing, dealing with, treating, and preventing body acne. I'm gonna go through 3 pillars. Again, get ready to take notes. 1, remember that long-term clear skin will come down to a reliable, repeatable pattern, never regressive overnight spot treatment. The certain soaps you're using in the shower to prevent or treat body acne, you're gonna keep using them consistently. The moisturizers that you're using outside of the shower that you're seeing are leaving a good result on your skin and not bringing about any irritation or damage, you're gonna keep using those. The regimen that you use after the gym to avoid any sweat-induced acne, you're gonna continue doing that every time you go to the gym. And you're gonna keep all of these habits consistent and do them over and over, because the moment that you stop or you fall off or you become inconsistent, you're leaving so much room for damage and for your issues to come back and even potentially be worse. Next, properly map out your week. Balance your wash days, chemical exfoliant days, rest days, maintenance days, dehydration days, and physical exfoliant days. This also helps a lot in keeping everything in a very consistent and linear manner, to where you're not kind of hopping all over the place and making products or habits really inefficient, because you're just not holding them up to the standard they need to be, and you're not using them as frequently or as consistently as you need to. This can also be the same vice versa, where you don't want to overuse anything to make your skin weaker, damaged, compromised, and prone to bringing those issues right back about. And lastly, even with that, make sure that you also allow flexibility in your routine depending on how your skin responds and reacts to daily activity levels or environmental damage, heat, humidity, or any other factors. Because you also want to make sure that you're paying attention to your skin and being very inclined with its status at all times. Again, as I mentioned earlier, if you ever feel stripped, any pain, stinging, or discomfort, you may be overstripping your skin, overusing a product, over exfoliating. If you ever get to that point, don't think that pushing through and keeping everything the same will make anything better. If anything, you're only worsening the damage to your skin and over compromising your skin. At those times, dial back on everything, give your skin time to breathe, reset, and recover. And then once you're back in a stable standing, work everything back in slowly and in a very controlled manner. Always remember that a well-kept, consistent routine is the foundation and will set the standard for everything that you're wanting and desiring in your skin. And that's all for this section and all the sections in this video. And that's everything for today's video. We have gone through all the sections. I've broken down all the little tips, factors, things to know, things to do, things to avoid, things to keep consistent. I definitely feel like I've touched on everything. If you think that I can expand on any of these points or want me to talk about anything else or even elaborate further on this video as a whole, definitely let me know. If you have any further questions, want any other tips, maybe need some more specific help, also let me know. You can comment down below or message me. I do have my direct messaging open everywhere, but I definitely do think that I highlighted the base of managing, treating, and preventing body acne. And that is it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy and gain something from this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you do want to see more similar videos, also go ahead and subscribe. I am posting a new episode of this series every week on Thursday. We're currently on episode 13, meaning there are about 3 episodes left in this series. So definitely make sure that you catch up on previous episodes and stay tuned for all of the episodes to come. While you are waiting for videos on here, I do post daily on all of my short form platforms, and I am Zonia everywhere. I do also have a board and a private group chat open on TikTok if you're wanting to be a little bit more inclined in the community. I've lately been receiving lots of requests and questions on products in specific that I am sharing and showcasing and how to go about getting them. So I've been taking much more time lately to be a bit more intentional on sharing these products with you all. I do have a showcase now on TikTok where I'm linking all of the products within each video and routine, and then an Amazon storefront, and I'm sharing that everywhere on my Instagram stories and highlights, TikTok stories and highlights. The description boxes of these videos always will have the link, and I kind of have it pretty much in every bio. I do also always link products that I mentioned within my YouTube videos within the video itself. So I hope that serves you well if you are wanting a better guide in going about obtaining all of these products. But if you have made it this far, again, thank you so much for watching this video. I definitely hope to see you in the next one, and stay tuned for Hot Girl Hygiene episode 14. Bye!